All right, now we're podcast started. All right, I forgot to record, but now we're recording. So just give me 1 second. All right, so new style. I know I said this if you're watching this live, but if you're not watching recording, you haven't heard what I said. Start with breaking news, and then move on to uh our recap. So Mick Schumacher will do the full IndyCar season next year. So with Ray Hall, Legerman, again Racing, or RL for short. Full season, so obviously I'll include Indy 500. And so the full RL team is Schumacher, Ray Hall, I believe Lee Foster. So yes, that Bobby Ray Hall said, "I think I speak for everyone RL when I say how for everyone to welcome Mick to the team and to IndyCar." Excuse me, his test with us on Vimus Road Course was exceptional. Impressive. At least team. I mean, obviously impressive. He's signed to the team. Everyone walked away from that event determined to do what we could to make it to our program. We really shows in us, and we can't wait to get to work. Yeah, Mick made 43 starts for Haas back in F1 from 21 to 22. Unfortunately, he only got one top 10. If any against Haas, they don't have a very good car. See, he moved to Alpine. His WEC program, which is Sports Cars World Endurance Championship. Resulting in free podium finishes. Maybe Haas is just, I don't know. Maybe Haas just has what the kids would say, skill issues. And then David Letterman said, "I am delighted to welcome Mick Schumacher to the RL family. Our young man has competed against some of the world's greatest racers. With Graham, Louis, and now Mick, we feature for RL's Limitless. Very excited for 2026 season." So he was in the past. He became a member of a Ferrari Driver Academy. I would believe that too. I mean, I'm saying this as a Ferrari fan. I would. So yep, and St. Petersburg tickets on sale now. I am not a rep of a track. I'm just letting you know tickets on sale now. It's actually on my bucket list to go to every current IndyCar race on the current calendar. Why did I say current twice? Maybe I'm just trying to yap so I can avoid talking about last night's match. But I am a soccer podcaster too, so I really can't ignore it. But anyways, let's move on to what happened in the previous week, starting with Oilers and Sabres. Wow. I was a good sport about it because I have a friend of a pride who's a Sabres fan. So I know how it feels when your team is absolute dog water, because how Oilers have been for a few years, that's how the Jackets been for a while. So I know the feeling, just not wanting to see a hockey team play. Well, I don't. I always watch, but it's just a painful experience. Yeah. I think the real problem was Well, obviously, with a 5-1 score, for real problem, it's only scoring one goal. I mean, probably got to score at least two. Two. Um, when maybe three, but when you let your opponent score five, it's just not good. Yeah, 1 second. As I was saying, you really can't. Uh, excuse me. And another thing is Jack Fosvick is like the only one who showed up at night. Well, I guess Machapani Dressel did with assists, but we allow 4 unanswered goals. I know one was the empty net, but still, I don't understand why you pull the goalie down 3 goals. Looking at the stats, out hitting your opponent is great, but the turnover game was what costs them. Oilers had 17 turnovers, for Sabres only had 14. And the Sabres also blocked 19 shots, and Oilers only blocked 16. The Sabres went 1 for 2 on the power play. The Oilers went 0 for 1 on the power play. They won more face-offs, but had more shots on goal. But it doesn't matter when. Excuse me, the final score is 5-1. It's just the last few years because you only play Eastern teams once. They seem to struggle in Buffalo. Maybe it's the way of honoring old Tim Horton and not losing for a team he used to play for. Wait, I know he played for Buffalo. That's why the SHQ is in Buffalo. Who else did he play hockey for? But, if I could spell his name right. Oh, Toronto. Unfortunately, so unfortunately he passed away in a car accident, but he played for the Leafs, for Rangers, the Penguins, it was Sabres. I knew he played for Sabres because HQ said. But anyways, for some reason the Oilers really seem to struggle in Buffalo. It's probably on the Blue Jackets website where we're yapping about the Oilers. We actually do have a lot to talk about F1 because I almost said Ferrari got disqualified. That was China, dumb. McLaren got disqualified, but it was for the same exact issue, which I can see this later season, but China, was race 4? That's just like so Ferrari to get a DSQ that early of a season. Like when Ferrari got disqualified at round 4? Oh, I'm sorry, race 2. Yeah, that is very Ferrari. And I say that as a Ferrari fan. That is extremely. Oh, I forgot Gasly got disqualified too. I forget what Gasly did. I'll have to look it up. But we're on hockey right now. So, yeah, that's really all I have to say about that game. Next up will be the Blue Jackets versus Canadians. Did not expect a shootout win. It was a very, very tight shootout. Only won by a goal of a shootout. Wazinski, Kapanen, Fantilli, Voronkov, Josh Anderson, former Blue Jacket, Hudson were your regulation goal scorers. You know, I don't know if the same admin runs the crew page as the Blue Jackets page, but they make fun of a 2-goal lead event. Blue Jackets blow one. And Lane Hudson was assisted, so obviously that line was working. I wouldn't want to break it up. Although, looking at a score sheet, they did. I guess is that Jake Evans? Is that what the J stands for? But yeah, the Blue Jackets wanted to shoot out. Johnson scored. Suzuki did not. Vantilli did not score. Caulfield scored. Wachenko scored. And then it was a save to win the shootout. Excuse me. So yeah, that game went a lot better than I thought it would. I did not realize this. Looking at the score of shots on goal, the Jackets are lucky they did not lose in overtime. They had no shots on goal in that overtime. Like, I don't know how they didn't lose in overtime with that. Like, that is insane. Sorry, I got distracted because I saw those containers in the background. One has my first suit in it, so. So, yeah, that is crazy if the Blue Jackets got 0 shots on goal. Excuse me. No power plays for the Canadians. Hello, sir. Is that some good tuna? I guess it is. Blue Jackets lost a turnover battle, but still won. Very lucky to win this game. Like, I don't know how you get 0 shots in overtime and still win of a shootout. We're outshot 32-23, so. And Wachenko extended his point streak to 12. Montreal lost 6 out of 7. Sorry, I can't help myself. Well, they lost 6 out of 7 to that point. So, should I think, I know I keep saying this, but the Blue Jackets got very lucky that night. They should have not won. They should have lost in overtime. But we move on to the next Jackets game where the Jets absolutely destroyed them, unfortunately. It's a 5-2 final up in Winnipeg. I did not think they were going to lose that game. I was wrong. I'm wrong a lot, but hey. You learn from that. Yeah, looking at shots. Jackets got outshot. Unfortunately, that's what happens. Man, starting to feel like a bakery with all this turnover talk. So, make sure no one's talking. All right. Like, the fact that they only lost that much is crazy. Oh, did I do that, Mike? Yeah. I'm Lowry, Miles Wood, Josh Morrison, Neil Pionk, Kyle Hunter, Zach Krasinski, Logan Stanley were your goal scorers. Just not a very good game for Blue Jackets. And now we move on to, unfortunately, we move on to Oilers Capitals. I don't know how to explain this one. Well, Oilers had more shots but still lost. I mean, as you heard in the Jackets Canadians game, that happens. But look at which shadow this old mic is making on my face because of the lighting in here. Sometimes I wonder if I need like a little ring light for my webcam. So That's another problem. I was like, wait, what's that on my face? So it's the shadow of this old mic that I have to disable because it's so staticky. That's why I got this mic. And this mic is a lot better. But anyways, hi, man. This is ADHD heavy podcast, isn't it? It is, buddy, isn't it? That's a good tuna. Yeah, so you licking your chops. Yeah, do you like that tuna? I don't know if you can see over my big fat head, but my cat. Oh, you can see his tail, but you can't see him licking his chops. Yeah, we have to do the hub for launch. We have to get him extra cam. But anyways, back on topic. As soon as the Oilers would make it close, they would concede another goal. So Potras, if that's how you pronounce it, I don't know. This is why I'm not a professional. Excuse me, hockey commentator. Ovi makes it 2-0 or 2-0. Nurse makes it a goal, a 1-goal game, and then Ryan Leonard is like, nope, we're going back to 3 goals. Nurse again, and then Ryan's like, listen here, boy, I did not say you could score twice, so I'm going to score twice. It was just a weird game. Tomzak makes it 4-3, and Olivier was like, no, we're gonna make it 5-3. Leon Draisaitl on the power play, then Tom Wilson gets 2 empty netters to make it a 7-4 final. Yeah, like I said, it was just a weird game. Just when Oilers fought, it was back in it. They were back in it, excuse me. It was like crazy. Like this emoji I'm sending is it's my thoughts in the entire game. What was even more embarrassing is it was on national television here in the United States. Wednesday night hockey. Do. Um anyways, it was sad, but you know, it is what it is. Then we move on to Jackets and Maple Leafs, which is funny if you're a Blue Jackets fan. If you're not, it was horrible. What's even funnier is it was in Toronto and not Columbus, so Jackets winning in overtime. That's apparently the motto for both the Blue Jackets of Oilers this season. There's not a lot of regulation wins for the Oilers. Voronkov scored, Eventilli scored. Unfortunately, the Blue Jackets blew a 2-0 lead. Then Tavares scored to tie it after Ramirez. Eventilli scored for a game winner in overtime. Zach Wazinski got his 13th assist of the season. Eventilli his 8th goal of the season. I wonder. I'm going to see what number overtime goal that was this season. It's obviously a game-winning goal. It was his first overtime goal of the season. Because obviously, in sudden death, it's gonna be a game-winning goal. His 5th career game winner of his. I was his 5th career game winner of his career. Wow. Okay. That was very profound. His 52nd goal of his career. He averages 50. So. I mean, obviously, you have 2 power. Yes. Yeah, so didn't like the fact that it took overtime, but at least Jackets got the job done. Um, so anyways, yeah, that was a decent game. Blue Jackets leave the season series 2-0 after for a funny thing. All right, and now we can move to Oilers Lightning. Um, Fortunately, that's another game where the Oilers lost in overtime. So I see a trend here with Oilers so far this season. Trent Frederick, Nick Paul, and Jake Gunsel were your game scores. I've heard it's hard to win games when only score one goal. Um, so third loss in a row with Oilers, unfortunately. And they won't play Tampa until March when Icky Daylight Saving Time is on. So yeah, really not much to say about that. Always won a turnover battle, but it didn't matter. We only scored one goal. It's gonna be hard to win hockey games. And excuse me, yeah. So next up on our schedule is Saturday games. Fortunately, the Blue Jackets lost to the Red Wings in overtime, 4-3. Um, the goal scorers were Fantilli on the power play, Raymond, Miles Word, Wazinski, Sherrod, and Sizer, and over. Oh, sorry, to break it, one overtime goal. There's literally a slide under it says overtime cam. Willing to read, bud. But yeah. So once again, with series money for Feeding America until December. Then we'll switch choice with Hot. So if you want to donate, your card's right there. But yep. And then I unfortunately can watch this game because there's an injured NHL network and YouTube TV does have NHL network. Unfortunately, I would drop something like Fox News for NHL network. But yeah, for Oilers won was it 6-3. Did not think we could beat Florida, especially after the last two Cup finals or Stanley Cup final, I should say, because this much of sports I watch that the awards is a Cup final. So yeah, 6-3 is the final. Let's go to the game summary though. It's just right in front of me. The goal scorers were Vlasic, Lindell, Roslovic, Ekholm, Pokolzin, Semichkov, Reinhardt. Because McDavid on the empty netter, it's Savoy on the empty netter, which I made it 6-3. We have looking at stats. You see Ian, that's into our empty net goal. Wait, did I just so all right. Now we talked about hockey, we got to talk about racing because after all, this is a motorsports podcast. So Um, not really a race to write home about. Fortunately for Sabbath won. So, but the biggest I was talking point is gonna be wait, the F1 account is based in the United States. Okay, that's weird. The biggest talking point is gonna be the disqualification. This video, I came up with my suggestion we're gonna watch it together. But you know, we're gonna have to talk about the race first. Not really much happened in my opinion. Um, we have retro safety car because of debris off the track to start for race. Lando bottled the start. I'm gonna show the picture. So, 1 second. Honestly, I don't like it when drivers do stuff like this. I think it's a very dangerous move, especially on the start. When look how wild starts are in F1. Um, I don't understand why he cut across the track like that. I know it wouldn't matter because they got disqualified for plank wear, but in my opinion, that's too aggressive and borderline reckless. But Max took the lead and didn't look back. George Russell also got past Lando, and the first switch for safety car was for damage with the debris between Lost and Piastri. Um, and then lap 450 is when the first restart happened. Um, excuse me. McClure had a good race. Unfortunately, things did not get tasty. Lewis made his way back to the points, which I'm happy for him. Like I said earlier, I'm a Ferrari fan, so if he's doing good, I'm happy. If he's doing bad, I'm sad for him. And plus, just he recently lost his dog, so I think it's really affecting his performance. I think it's more of a losing a dog. In fact, I know you can't see what I'm pointing, but I have Grover, which is my late dog. I haven't actually seen my computer. So McClure just had a great drive. Um, it was funny. I was like, it was stupid that they didn't put up Wish for Safety Car for debris. But literally, as I said, that I see on my second monitor because I was playing Roblox talking about it was a virtual safety car. Lap 17 when we resumed. Your first CNFs were Bortoletto and Lance Stroll. Excuse me. Verstappen made his 25 laps on those first half tires. Hamilton Alonso had a good battle, and Ollie Berman took well advantage of it. Now, the only thing that confuses me about this race is Antonelli's false start penalty. Like, They super zoom in on the tire. Okay, he's moving, but if the lights out, I can't tell if the lights are out from the video they shared. So I don't really understand why he got a penalty for a false start. Um, I don't, I don't, yeah, it joined April 25. Yeah, I knew that it was a bot. But anyways, I don't understand the penalty. Because I didn't see, yes, he was moving, but I didn't see evidence of the false start. I know a joke about MI, Mercedes, and FIA being in cahoots. Although that was really broken in Abu Dhabi 2021, where Max was handed a championship. If they wanted to enter under green, they should have just thrown for red. Give the marshals time to clear Latifi's car and then just standing start. So, anyways, back to the present. I guess past now. I don't understand the NCAA penalty because they did not show the light, so I really can't say if each ever started or not. So it's like, did he or did he not jump a start? It's really debatable if he jumped a start or not. Why are we dropping Frank? Get your crap together, Twitch. This is why I'm setting up our camera. Anyways, and then originally the podium was for Norris Russell. Then I woke up and both McLarens have been disqualified for blankware. So Bortoleto has a 5-spot grid penalty for this weekend's races in Qatar. Excuse me. Like I said earlier, it happened to Ferrari. I can see it happening this late this season, but for Ferrari to have it this early this season, that early this season, was insane. Like, how on God's green earth do you have a plank rare that bad on this? I know there was a sprint in China, but seriously, how? What if it fit for 2024? Skid plank on and say it should be good. Oh man, that's just hell. I'm trying to find excuse me. That one video I found explaining the plankware. I probably should put it in my watch later. But you know. I could just look up for YouTube. You can tell I'm doing all I can to stall talk about the match last night. But this is a very big topic. Like, alright, so we're gonna watch a video that explains why McLaren was disqualified better than I could. because I enjoy F1, but these guys are super experts. So anyways, let's watch a 10-minute video explaining why Ferrari, McLaren was disqualified. Ferrari was disqualified for the same exact reason, but this is about McLaren being disqualified, not Ferrari. So let's watch it together. First of all, it's unmute for tab.
Interesting, with just 2 rounds remaining. It looked like Norris had taken... The shock disqualification of both McLarens from the Las Vegas Grand Prix has made the F1 title fight much more interesting with just 2 rounds remaining. It looked like Norris had taken another step towards his first world title despite a self-described fuck-up that helped hand Max Verstappen victory in Vegas. But after Norris took drastic action seemingly to save fuel and still finished the race in second, with zero sign of any issue for 4th placed Oscar Piastri, a dramatic twist followed. Both McLaren drivers were excluded for something not related to fuel at all. They were thrown out of the race for excessive plank wear. All top 10 finishers were subjected to checks of the skid blocks that protect the underneath of the floor on these cars with a minimum mandated skid thickness of 9mm. Piastri's car failed this check by just 0.04mm on the left hand side front, but 0.26mm on the right.
Man, that's brutal, but rules are rules, man. Rules are rules. I know we already took an ad break, but wait, did I not take an ad break? Hang on, first of all, let's go. Let's not do streamception. Like, what are we doing here? Is it gonna take like maybe? Okay, I should have auto ads on how. Let me fix this. Okay, so why? Twitch, you're just being horrible today. Anyways, I'm gonna take a quick hot tea break. I'm gonna run a 2-minute ad. And we have returned. So let's go back to explaining why I keep wanting to say Ferrari. Like McLaren was disqualified.
And by 0.1mm on the right hand side rear. For Norris, the car failed by 0.07mm on the right hand side rear and 0.12mm on the right hand side front. While Piastri's disqualification means Norris has at least retained a good buffer to his teammate, their non-score and Verstappen's victory means the Red Bull driver has made massive inroads. And Norris's lead is considerably more vulnerable than it looked when the race finished. He is now 24 points ahead of both Piastri and Verstappen when it looked like he would extend his advantage over Piastri to 30 points and that Verstappen would be 42 behind. With only 58 Piastri to 30 points, both Piastri and Verstappen, when it looked like he would extend his advantage over Piastri to 30 points and that Verstappen would be 42 behind. With only 58 points on offer across 2 rounds remaining in Qatar, which includes a sprint race, and the finale in Abu Dhabi, that's a very different championship picture. Norris is still in control, but it's game on with Verstappen now closer in the points than he's been.
Alright, so yeah, you get, what's it, 10 points? I'm sorry, you get 8 points for winning a sprint. So if there was a sprint weekend, Max would have been, no matter what, Max would have been mathematically eliminated. So I do like sprint racing. It's making the championship a lot more interesting, in my opinion.
Winning at Imola in May, and he now has a very good chance of taking the fight all the way to Abu Dhabi. Despite Norris's smiles initially after finishing second, there was immediately something amiss. Whenever he or McLaren were asked about the aggressive lift and coast measures Norris had done in the final few laps of the race, the answers were cagey at best. The instructions appeared to be an attempt to save enough fuel to finish the race and provide a sample to the FIA for inspection afterwards, especially as one of the last radio messages to Norris was that the fuel looks okay now.
Okay, so the reason that's key is if you cannot provide a fuel sample, you get disqualified. I've said this before, I'll say this again, especially after Rocket Fuel Gate in NASCAR. NASCAR needs to do this too. Like, even if you tow the safety, even if you tow the car to the garage or the pit box, we fire it, and then I guess you could use the fuel can. Because, anyways, after Rocket Fuel Gate, NASCAR needs to test for fuel to make sure we're not cheating. And that's exactly like Formula 1 tests for fuel. If you do not have enough fuel to provide a fuel sample, you're disqualified. So they were trying to mask for problems. I know that's what we're going to say, but my HD spoke ahead.
Some issues with the car afterwards, but presumably because he was hearing the same stuff we were during the race, also implied it was fuel related when he said he wasn't sure if we just used more than expected. The uncertainty then escalated as the cars were held for longer than normal in Parc Ferme, which is the time when all legality checks are taking place. McLaren team boss Andrea Stella was seen in conversation with FIA F1 technical head Nicholas Tombassis in McLaren's hospitality unit, and Tombassis was spotted in the McLaren garage too. So something was up, it's just what we all thought it was, turned out to be a red herring. It seems McLaren's messages were essentially coded and that Norris was having to lift and coast, but not to manage fuel, to try to protect the plank. Norris himself is quoted in McLaren's own press release as saying that the management towards the end of the race was due to issues on the car that resulted in the disqualification. Lifting and coasting helps prevent plank wear because reducing speed at the end of the straights avoids the underneath of the floor smashing into the track surface as much. Something in what McLaren can measure remotely during the race must have made it worried that Norris was at serious risk of excessive wear if he continued pushing to the end. Whether McLaren went in knowing this would be marginal is unclear, but the fact Piastri wasn't urged to protect his plank implies that McLaren had no reason to suspect his car would be in trouble. So it must have...
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, Piastri, sorry. When they saw both cars against qualified, like, what? What do you mean, both? I could see Lando because it was marginal, but... Oscar? What?
...been something that played out during the Grand Prix. What McLaren could infer about plank wear from its data may have left it hopeful that Piastri was running in DRS and subjecting the plank to a less tough time during the Grand Prix, with Norris's data causing greater concern. That would also be consistent with the slightly coded lift and coast messages so as not to bring attention to something that might not have been inspected post-race anyway. Piastri might have been at lower risk of specific checks too, given he was outside the podium places, but it could also be that McLaren didn't think it was a big enough risk to be worth Piastri backing off significantly. This would have lost him crucial positions given he was right behind Kimi Antonelli, who had a time penalty, and just ahead of Charles Leclerc's Ferrari. Regardless, McLaren made a clear misjudgment on what its plank wear actually would be in a quick, dry race. McLaren tried to argue in mitigation that there was additional and unexpected porpoising of the cars here, limited opportunities to test due to shortened sessions and weather impact in practice, and that the breach was lower than others of this regulation in 2025. McLaren also claimed that there was potentially damage on both cars that may have caused the floor to move more and accelerate the wear. But apart from helping the stewards judge that the breach was unintentional, not a deliberate attempt to get around the rules, this achieved nothing. Because it's well established that the technical rules are black and white and disqualification was required. And even if a disrupted weekend did make it harder to judge the setup, nobody else got caught with excessive wear. This is the outside help Verstappen desperately needed in order to reignite his late title bid. A 42-point gap with a sprint race and 2 Grand Prix left to go would have been asking too much, surely, even of the winner of the last 4 championships. By comparison, 24 points feels surmountable, and it's impressive.
That's not even a total race. 42 is almost 2 race wins. But you got race 2 Grand Prix and a sprint. So Max could still win the championship. Do I see it happening? No, it's a plausible yes.
Vegas being the kind of competitive weekend he really needed, irrespective of the double McLaren disqualification. Vegas has been good to Verstappen and less good to McLaren in the track's short history, and given the starting positions, there was always a chance he could turn the tables on Norris in this Grand Prix, but he got extra help in the race as well as after it. Verstappen surely wouldn't have been able to believe his luck when Norris went so deep at the first corner. It was the perfect opportunity for Max to then take control. And if there's one thing we know about Verstappen, it's when he does have control and isn't at serious risk of losing it, he becomes almost unbeatable. That was the case when George Russell tried and failed to exert pressure on the race leader, and when McLaren optimistically claimed in the final third of the race that Norris was free to go and get Verstappen after passing Russell himself. This was one on pace as much as opportunity. It was the kind of race where Verstappen only grew in confidence, comfort and control throughout, and the perfect response to a couple of races in Mexico and Brazil where he was left recovering too much ground after qualifying. But now that the points are more in his favour, can this performance be repeated? Vegas was cruel to McLaren last year as the car struggled to fire up its tyres and avoid being plagued by front graining in cold conditions. This year was better, but still the pace was a bit lacking. So was this just Verstappen and Red Bull at their best against Norris and McLaren being a bit behind? It's really hard to say, but it is possible, and the faster, hotter tracks of Qatar and Abu Dhabi are not going to offer the same challenge. If anything, they should favour McLaren. But Verstappen will surely just be happy that the chance of it going to the wire is now much improved. He needed some extra assistance to get this close. Now he's got it, and Verstappen knows better than anybody that things can swing your way very quickly in a one-race shootout for the championship.
Imagine an environment free from complexity and barriers, where simplicity, security, agility and performance enable the...
Yeah, no. It's the rest of us. Yeah, no, sorry, we're skipping that ad.
What will encourage Verstappen alongside the revised point situation is that he knows he has the beating of both McLarens in a straight fight. Norris trying to be aggressive with Verstappen at the start meant that ignoring the technical infringement, he played a key part in losing a victory and leaving the door open to Verstappen in the championship in the first place. Norris will be a deserving champion if he brings it home, but not an entirely convincing one. And this race provided another illustration of how he still has weaknesses and a little uncertainty to address. He quite rightly tried to be aggressive with Verstappen at the start. It's a short run to turn 1 at the Vegas track, so getting a good enough launch to cut off the inside completely is very difficult, as Norris discovered. The intent was laudable, the execution just slightly lacking, which sort of fits the pattern that when Norris tries to get a bit aggressive, it doesn't work as often as when, say, Verstappen forces the issue. As for Piastri, this was yet another frustrating combination of some things in his control and some things outside of them, all conspiring to go against him. He has ultimately been neither fast enough or lucky enough in this run-in so far. When Piastri has looked quick, he's not seemed as fast as Norris, and circumstances went against him anyway. He should have started at least 3rd, not 5th, but his final run in Q3 was ruined by a Charles Leclerc yellow flag. Then the race became more of a what if, given the lost race time inflicted by that grid position, putting him in the path of Liam Lawson, who made a costly misjudgment in slamming into the McLaren at the first corner. Ultimately, Piastri has also made uncharacteristic errors in Battle 2. There have been a few misjudgments now in the second half of the year, and what was previously a great strength has now become a bit more wobbly. His racecraft was lacking sometimes in Vegas, where it felt like a sky-high on confidence Piastri would have got something done more convincingly. The upshot is he remains an outsider for the title, even though his disqualification has actually helped him versus Norris because he's 6 points closer than he would have been had the result stood. Being on the same points as Verstappen means Piastri has no less of a chance than the Red Bull driver does, but if you were backing anybody on form or on overall convincingness for the whole year, it's surely Verstappen. Even before this result swung massively in his favour, the race was another signal that he is still the grid's benchmark. He's been the pick of the 3 championship protagonists all year, the most consistent, dependable and high performing of the trio on balance. Now the points margin is smaller than it's been for 6 months. This swing doesn't offset the disadvantage Verstappen feels he's carried for too long, but his chances look a whole lot better.
Anyway, so that's that. Oh, okay, I guess we gotta get to the elephant in the room. 04 loss. It was class, you know what. From 15 to 92. Just horrible race match, and that ended the season because it's obviously elimination. All right. let's move on to the future predictions portion, where that's right, we tried to predict the future. Not watching highlights, not giving it was a satisfaction. Starting tonight with Blue Jackets. Marchenko was unfortunately questionable after a injury. Well, I like how the Google Docs provide better lighting. Like I said, I may get to ring light for this camera because sometimes the lighting in here isn't the best. So maybe put it on my phone. But anyways. I think the Capitals speak for Jackets, unfortunately. And then that would take us to tomorrow because the Oilers are off tonight. For Oilers and Stars. Unfortunately, I think Oilers lose this one too. To Dallas. I'm just not really comfortable with Oilers right now. Teams that were orange and blue are disappointing me. So that takes us to Wednesday. Oh man, it's gonna pull it up on my phone real quick. I'm gonna put the dates down too. So that takes us to Wednesday for 26th. The Blue Jackets play for Maple Leafs again. I think the Blue Jackets can beat them again. It's probably because it's nationally broadcasted in Canada because Scotiabank sponsors Wednesday Night Hockey, and that takes us to Thanksgiving. No hockey, obviously. I don't know if we do the same for Canadian Thanksgiving, but you know. Then Friday, Jackets and Penguins. I think they can beat Pittsburgh again. So, 26 and 20 by the 8th. Yeah. And then I would take us to Saturday for some hockey night in Canada. Oilers are cracking at 2 in Seattle. I think the Oilers bounce back versus Seattle. Crash out if we lose to Seattle again. It takes us Sunday. No hockey, but there is F1. Which I'll be getting up for. I say it goes Lando Norris, Max Verstappen, even Oscar comes in third. making a very fun title fight. Next year I'll cover sprints. This year I'm just covering Grand Prix. Um, so yeah. Oh, two drivers, Austin from Prox left John Force Racing. Almost got to talk about that. I'll be better at covering the NHRA next year, but that will do it for today's podcast. Excuse me. So I'd like to thank you for watching. God bless. I still believe that Jesus is Lord. Excuse me. I will see you tomorrow for Farming Sim. Time to be determined because I may have to do tacos for lunch again. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye. Oh, I accidentally hit the wrong one.